This is the Community Preservation Committee meeting on March 4th. Ha, we are marching forth. Never mind. I'll stop that one. I know. I do have to read the statement of, in accordance with Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, public bodies otherwise governed by the OML are temporarily relieved from the requirement that meetings be held in public places, open and physically accessible to the public, so long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate and alternative means. This meeting will be live on Zoom. The public may participate remotely by joining Zoom meeting ID number of 846-0600-8222 or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Carly Antonellis, Assistant Town Manager, at atm@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220, extension 100, prior to the meeting during business hours. So I've called the meeting to order. Thank you, everybody. We've got Colleen coming in, so we've got a full house. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm looking here at the agenda. Does anybody have any corrections or anything with regards to the agenda? Comments? All right.
Nope.
Hearing crickets, can I get somebody to approve the agenda as written?
So moved.
All right, Barry made the motion. Can I get a second? Oh, Beth seconded. Thank you. Now I got to do roll call. Jess,
Aye.
Beth,
Yes.
Julie,
Yeah.
Kevin,
Yes.
all right, and Colleen.
Aye.
All right, yep. All right, that's great. I know I'm trying to get
You
everybody.
forgot Barry.
I didn't get my roll call vote.
Oh, that's because I'm trying to move everybody around. Barry. Okay. Aye.
For the
Aye.
record, aye.
And the chair says aye, so we've got it unanimous. That sounds great. Thank you, Barry. All right, next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from February 4th. I reviewed them and our clerk does a great job. I didn't see anything, any type of correction. Anybody have anything?
Nope.
No? Okay, can I get a motion to approve the minutes as written?
Make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Thank you, Colleen. And can I get someone a second?
Second,
All right, Barry seconds it, and I'm going to do roll call. Barry,
aye.
Colleen.
Aye.
Jess,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
Beth,
Yes.
and Julie.
Yeah.
Aye, and the chair says aye. I think I got everybody that time. Excellent. Thank you. All right. Okay, Colleen, I know that Sean is working tonight, and I have not heard back from Alicia whether or not she was going to present, but would you be able to make the presentation again with regards to the affordable housing?
And can you share the application? I'm having trouble
Yes. All right,
opening
but
things on my
before-
computer.
Okay, but before I do that, I need to open up the public.
Oh, yeah,
hearing
yeah.
then.
Open up the public hearing.
Yeah, and I do have the application waiting, so I can open it up. All right, no, I'm gonna open up the public hearing for the Ayer Affordable Housing Trust funding request. Notice is hereby given in accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44B, the Community Preservation. The Ayer Community Preservation Committee will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, March 4th March 4th, 2026 at 7 p.m. The purpose of this meeting will be to review the funding application from the Ayer Affordable Housing Trust for CPA funds to help support the continued efforts of the Housing Trust with rental assistance for the town of Ayer residents. All residents, member of the general public, and any persons interested or wishing to be heard on the application request may call 978-772-8220, extension 100, during business hours prior to the meeting for the Zoom meeting information. Community Preservation Committee, Janet Providake is chair. This was gone ahead and was in the Neshoba Valley Voice for two days, February 20th and February 27th. And also too, it was posted on the town's bulletin board outside, really prior to February 20th. So let me go ahead and share the application and nope, that's not what I wanted. Oh, there it is. Can you see it?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, and presenting will be Colleen, who is the representative from CPC on the Ayer Affordable Housing Trust. Take it away, Colleen.
It looks like Alicia talked to you or they sent you the updated
Correct, it is updated.
application. So there is a slight adjustment from what we had talked about in the last meeting. We are requesting for, another year of funding for the Air Rental Assistance Program. For the last 2 years, we had requested $72,000 as we were serving 12 families. When we first put together the request, we were keeping that amount the same. However, we had a pretty robust group of applicants for this year's funding, a lot of applicants in the high need with very high scores. And so we decided that maybe we should be upping the number of families that we can serve up to 14 instead of 12. And I'm noticing, Janet, that there is a typo. It was updated to 14 in the number, but not in the wording. So we'll have to.
I told Alicia that. So.
Yep. And so that we would ask for $84,000 towards the Air Rental Assistance Program, and then we would still ask for the additional funds like we did last year towards that Affordable Housing Acquisition Fund in the amount of $128,000. Then this will allow us to be ready for projects similar to the Devon's Crest project, where they came to us and we had this housing fund that we were able to give them some of the money. Obviously, we didn't have enough. They came to CPC for the rest, but we were able to give them that commitment of funds, assuming that all the agreements were in place, which then was going to be helpful to them with the securing of funds from the state, leveraging funds from other sources. So as a result of this, the trust is asking for $212,000 from CPC so that we can fund 14 families in the rental assistance program and add $128,000 to that acquisition fund to have on hand.
Excellent. From what I understand, I think you had something like 36 applications that came in for rental assistance, and it was very difficult because there were many, like you were saying, many of the families that qualified, and not only qualified, but they all pretty much got the same score level.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we had many in that high need area, whereas in previous years, we've always gotten more applications than we funded, but typically those that were not successful in getting the funding were in a lower need group. But this year we saw a large increase in, the need of the applicants, and
Mhm.
we felt like if we could add two additional spots, that would be a real benefit and would get us to a comfortable number where we'd be helping those in that highest need group. And we certainly didn't feel like going higher than that. It is a lot of work to oversee the program and do the paperwork. So that kind of seemed like it would be a sweet spot for now in terms of managing, but also being able to provide that assistance to the families that need it.
Right, excellent. Yeah, I'm all right. Anybody else from the committee have any questions with regards to the application or to Colleen?
Sounds like a good idea. I did just want to point out, I think that the chart, like where it has the budget, the total didn't get adjusted. It still like has a sum of 2,000, or I'm sorry, 200,000 on the one that I'm looking at least. I'm not sure if I have the right one,
No.
but
Oh, yes,
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
I see that. I will make sure.
We met on Thursday of last week, and to look at the applicants and then made the decision to amend. So clearly we did not spend as much time proofing it.
no, that's why I just
We
wanted
could have,
to
but
point it
Yeah.
out to help with clarity if anybody else takes a look at it.
yes,
Okay.
and we could certainly, when we make the motion, approve with the amendments of those two things fixed.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, thank you, Beth. Anybody else?
Sounds good to me.
All right. So the next item then would be, can I get a vote to move this application that will be amended with the typo from 12 to 14 and then the updated number on the chart to reflect the 212,000, to move that to town meeting on April 27th. So can I get a motion?
So moved.
All right, Jess,
And
Can I
I'll
get a
second.
hi, Beth makes a second. And bear with me, I need to bring everybody back on screen. So I don't forget Barry. Jess,
Aye.
Barry.
Aye.
Beth,
Yes.
Colleen.
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
Julie.
Yes.
Okay, and the chair says aye. So right now, this is going to be moving forward to town meeting. And will make sure that I get in touch with Alicia to get that updated. All
Thank
right.
you.
You're welcome. Now, can I get a motion to close the public hearing on the Affordable Housing Trust?
Yes.
So
So
moved.
Oh, okay. All right. We've got Barry who made the initial and Beth seconded. I don't think I have to go through a roll call on that, do I?
I
Jess?
think you do.
All right. Barry,
Aye.
Jess,
Aye.
Beth,
Yes.
Kevin,
Aye.
Colleen,
Aye.
and then Julie. All right, and chair says aye. So now the public hearing for the Air Affordable Housing Trust funding request is closed. Next on the agenda is, bear with me, let me get the other little folder. And this will be the public hearing for the Sandy Pond School Association funding for the Sandy Pond School House. I'm going to read the notice that was placed in the Neshoba Valley Voice on February 20th and 27th, as well as the bulletin board outside of Town Hall. Notice is hereby given in accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44B. The Air Community Preservation Committee will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, March 4th, 2026 at 7 p.m. The purpose of this meeting will be to review the funding application from the Sandy Pond School Association requesting funds to support the installation of an HVAC system at the property located at the corner of Sandy Pond Road, Willow Street, and Westford Road. All residents, members of the general public, any persons interested or wishing to be heard on the application request may call 978-772-8220, extension 100, during business hours prior to the meeting for Zoom meeting information. Community Preservation Committee, Janet Providakis, Chair. Okay, who we have Irv Rockwood, who is our representative from Sandy Pond School Association with us. And I do have the updated, let's see, I do have the updated, no, that's not the right one. Application here to make it easier for you. Irv, let me just share it.
Sure.
Hopefully I can. I always do this. Come on. All right. Share. Here we go. Can you guys see it?
Yes, we're looking now, I think, at what page are we looking at?
Hold on. I'm going to move back up. I was.
Yeah,
Nope,
The
that's
housing
right.
trust application.
Yeah, that's the wrong one. It's going to be the doc. There we go. Is that better?
I think so.
Okay.
It's clearly our application. So,
Yay.
right. This application, this is a slightly revised version of the one that was considered at the February meeting. The two main changes are that we modified the amount of money that we were requesting. We're requesting now, instead of half of the $25,000 cost we anticipate, we are requesting the entire amount in case the other application that we have submitted, which is to the Mass Cultural Council, in case that one does not come through. If that does come through, then we basically would wind up using that grant plus half of the $25,000 to cover this project. But by going this way, we ensure that if the other one for some reason does not come through, we'll be able to proceed in a more timely fashion. The other change that has, I guess that's not technically part of the proposal per se, but we do have the first of what we anticipate will be 3 actual quotes for the project. And the first is from J.A. Healy and Sons of Westford, and their quote is for $22,647.91. That does not include the electrician's work, which we're estimating at about $2,500. So the bottom line here is that our estimate of 25 for the project is about right. Yes.
What was the contract amount again?
The contract, the quote from Westford. Yes,
Yeah.
It's $22,647.91. They were very exact, but it does not include the electrician's work, but includes the entire system. So
Okay.
that we think at this point we're in the ballpark on the $25,000 estimate for the project. We are anticipating getting 2 additional quotes. Right now is not a great time to ask people for quotes at this moment because they have to trudge through the snow to get into the schoolhouse. But in a couple weeks, hopefully we'll be able to do that, and we'll go to work on that. We should have that information in place before town meeting for sure. The basic goal of the project, as discussed in February, is pretty simple. The big goal we're proposing here to do is to put in an HVAC system, a modern mini-split HVAC system into the schoolhouse. But the main goal here is to enable us to use the schoolhouse for the first time year-round. Right now, we're restricted to opening it basically from sometime late April to early October. We simply can't use it during the colder months. And that's inconvenient for a variety of reasons. It's inconvenient for the new school, the elementary school student program that we started this last year, because it means we have to schedule the student visits, the fourth grader or third grader visits to the schoolhouse, either at the very beginning of the school year or towards the very end of the school year, both of which are relatively more challenging because the calendars are fuller at that time. So this would give us the flexibility to do it most any time during the school year. Of course, the building was, when it was used as a school, it was heated, but it was heated with a very large wood stove, which is still there. That does not seem to be the appropriate heating mode for the building in this era. That is the original stove. It could be made to work. It would cost a few $1,000s to rehab it and connect it to the chimney. But myself, I think that's sort of I burned firewood for 30 years. I'm very familiar with how wood stoves work, but I'm concerned about using a wood stove in a building of this vintage, and particularly when you never know who would actually be in charge at that time. So it seems to me that that's probably not a safe move for the schoolhouse.
And also too, didn't the feasibility study recommend having a, what is it, the heat system, the heat pump?
Yes, the conditions assessment, the original conditions assessment going back to 2017, that's what they recommended.
Okay.
And that was an expense that we were not able to afford during the main part of the restoration project because we ran into two problems. One was we lost a grant that we thought that we actually had qualified for from the Massachusetts Historical Commission over a title issue that we have since resolved. But that was lost. And the other thing that happened, COVID escalated the prices on some of the work that other pieces of work that we were planning on doing. The most noticeable increase was on the roofing work. The roof was considered really critical, and we got that work done, but the original estimate for that had been $45,000, and the post-COVID actual expense was $67,000. Those kind of things happened at that time, and so we had to cut some corners, and this was the most noticeable one that we cut. We did not put the heating system in at that time, so we'd like to be able to do it now. We think we can make a lot more use of the school building if we do that. And it'll become sort of more likely that people will think about using it. Right now, because it's only available at certain times of the year during the warmer weather, it sort of isn't on people's radar screen in terms of a place where you could have events. In the past, this building has been a very lively venue for a lot of community activities. And basically what we like to do is to sort of get ourselves back in that era where the building is being used fairly frequently, and once it's able to be used year round, we think that will help. So that's the rationale for the project.
Yeah, and I know that you received several letters of recommendation. I believe George Bacon is with us tonight from Historic Committee, as well as the letters from the Select Board and the school. Helen Berry, went ahead and wrote on how important it would be to get this up and running year round so that the students can go ahead and partake in it. So I think that was good. Irv, this is a great project, to be able to have this asset in town, this historical asset to have kids realize what life was like. So thank you, for doing so much with the association on this. Is there anything else you want to mention, or can we move forward and see if the group has any questions?
Yeah, if the group has questions, I'd be happy to try and answer them, certainly. And does George want to say anything?
Yeah, I was just going to ask George.
Yeah.
I had a couple questions. Irv, could you just briefly describe what visible changes there'll be on the exterior of the building?
Yeah, if we put this at this point, we're anticipating that we'll be installing two mini split units, and the interior, what will be visible in the interior of the building will be one in the addition, or the L as we call it. That will be a smaller unit, and then there will be one in the classroom. These are wall mounted. And they will be mounted fairly high, so they will be visible. They're I don't know the color of the exact units that we're currently being quoted on. I have them in my house. I have 3 of them in my house, and they are basically beige, rectangular, sort of streamlined objects that go up on the wall. And they're a very efficient method of heating, and they do not require any duct work, which we don't have in the building, and which would be very difficult to put in the building. On the outside of the building, there will be the base units, and that unit will be depends. We'll see, but the current proposal would put that unit on the side of the outside of the building facing Westford Road. That's the washroom side of the building, which has only the washroom window. It will not be. These are not huge units. The outside unit is probably, I don't know, 36 inches high, and maybe slightly wider, and it will be on a platform to keep it above the snow. And the interior units are, I don't know, I could take a rough, I actually have, find my tape, give you an idea on the size of the interior unit. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the unit in my 3rd bedroom here is about 34 inches wide. That's probably about the size of the one that would be in the addition, although that one might actually be a little smaller. And then it's about 18 inches tall. So those would be wall mounted. That would be the only thing that would be visible inside the building.
Okay. My other question is, the previous grants required a preservation restriction on the building.
Yes. That is true, and that is a story.
Yeah, I know. Should we complete the preservation restriction before this work is done, and then make any modifications to it based on exterior changes, which don't seem to be that major, or should you wait till afterwards and then execute the PR?
Well, I think it would be neater to do it afterwards. The big problem that we're having, as you may know, is getting it done at all. We have tried very hard on our end of it. We spent a good chunk of money having a lawyer draft a draft restriction. It has never been formally reviewed by the town, even though they've had it for some time. And I am not 100% sure what the obstacle is, but I think it's partly a matter of time, and possibly it's a matter of town council time. I'm not really sure. We actually have been holding off on bringing this proposal before CPC because of the difficulties with the preservation restriction. And I guess one of our thoughts in the end was maybe this will jumpstart the preservation restriction. We're prepared to enter into that agreement. We just need to get the town to act on it, to move on it. And if anybody had,
Yeah, I was gonna say is, George, have you been able to meet up with Robert at all and see what is maybe holding up town council?
No, I haven't. I've been out of service for a while, just getting back on my feet.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah.
Barry, you were gonna say something?
Well, I was going to ask, well, before George brought it up about the preservation restriction, but also, have you talked? I mean, I asked this the last time, but have you talked to Dan from DPW regarding plowing and upkeep? And I mean, when you think of a winter like we've had now, um, it's tough for guys like you and I at our age to go out shoveling and everything
Oh,
else. So,
yeah. Yeah, I haven't talked to Dan about that yet. But I will do that. And if need be, you know, we will find a way to fund it if we have to do that. I think we can, you know, think we can take care of that. But that's another thing that needs to be done. Longer term, the other remaining project here that is somewhat longer term is the idea of improving the parking area for the building. And we have some ideas and thoughts about that will probably involve some negotiations with the town, but which, based on my earlier discussions with both Dan and the town manager, have sounded like there was a good possibility of making that happen. But I think if we're going to have the building open, we will need to be able to have snow removal. Yes.
but also, I mean, when you say the building open, if I think of like this past December, January, February, where sometimes we had temperatures in the single numbers. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have one of those units, but I think they'd be struggling to keep up so that you could run a program.
Well, actually, not the current ones. I have them, and mine actually will function quite satisfactorily below zero temperatures. And mine are old. Mine are 2013 models, and I do use them all the time. I have one weird issue in my house, which is I have a vulnerable hot water pipe up in the attic that because of the difference between the way the hot water system routes heat and the way the heat pumps route heat, I usually have to turn on my hot water system to make sure I don't get a frozen pipe problem in really cold weather. But today, these heat pumps are very efficient and they're very comfortable at below zero. And the equipment we'd be putting in is 10 years, 13 years, newer than what I have in my house.
So now would this go in the classroom or is it going to be into that little ante room? Where is it going to be placed?
There'll be there'll be one unit in the classroom on the wall, probably in the back wall in the classroom, and one smaller unit in the addition. Yeah, and they'll both be elevated. They're going to be up towards the ceiling. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Beth, you got your hand up.
Yeah, regarding George's question too about the exterior changes, has MHC reviewed it? Like, because it's a National Register listed property, so is this the type of thing that they review as well? And I know normally you try to put any changes to the exterior on the rear and away from the roadside. And I understand, like, well, for one, like putting it on the Westford Road side at least doesn't impact the original brick structure as much, but still it's just right at the road, right close to the corner even, will be, considerably visible. So I don't know how much you've considered, the location. There'll also be exterior conduit probably coming down from the locations the mini splits are mounted.
Not really.
No.
No, you have a wall penetration, but it's just a hole where the pipes go from the base unit, inside. But the proposal we have from Healy, they were proposing to put the base unit outside on the Westford side. I had anticipated from the beginning we probably would wind up putting it on the back, and I believe that's still feasible. But I think we want to, we really need to talk to the people who build and design these systems and get comparative proposals and take it from there. As for MHC, I don't know whether this is something they would normally review. Again, it was proposed in the original conditions assessment that we would install such a unit, and the people proposing that were, Spencer, Sullivan, and Vogt, who are that's their thing, is historic preservation. So we've always felt.
Did they have a location on the plan at that time?
No, they did not. No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
I think, yeah, I'm trying to remember. They just had the recommendation, so that you could use the building year round. And that would be the most efficient way to do it and less obtrusive than trying to put in any type of ductwork or anything.
Ductwork would be very difficult and basically prohibitively expensive. Yeah.
So will there be a separate application that goes to the historical commission for this proposal as well then? The local
To Ayer's Historical Commission?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I know we got a letter of recommendation from George.
Right.
But it would be a
Right.
permit that would be issued.
Right.
I don't know, George?
Unless there's a preservation restriction in place, we really have no control over it. You could knock a hole in the wall and we couldn't say anything.
Yeah.
So,
Even with the Federal Registry?
No, National Register is just a recognition. It's not a restriction.
Okay.
Yeah, we really have tried very hard to get the preservation restriction done.
yeah, I will agree
Well,
with that.
did we ever get a draft copy of that? Or?
I submitted a draft copy to the town 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I've got to go
Yeah,
back.
about 2
No.
years ago.
I'm talking about the historical commission. I don't think I've ever seen one.
It went. I was at the time working with the town manager on the preservation restriction for the grants that had already been approved for the restoration, the 2 restoration grants, and for that work. And so that's where that ended up. It's still there, somebody's desk somewhere. And I've been in touch with Janet about this as well.
Yeah, and I've mentioned it to Robert multiple times. So so with that, but I'm trying to remember the emails that you had sent with the restriction that got developed. I really thought the historic commission was CC'd on it, Barry.
Yeah.
I can look back at, the emails.
Yeah, because I don't personally remember.
Yeah, no, I would have to say.
How about you, George? Have you
Yeah.
ever seen a draft copy of that?
No, I haven't.
I would
Well-
suggest that we get it to the commissioners at least
Okay.
for review, and then that they can also maybe inquire on status with
Yeah.
the manager as an interim step.
Yeah.
To,
Okay.
to the Historical Commission or to CPC, Beth?
Historical Commission.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, and I'm going to be stopping by the town hall tomorrow morning at a little after 8. So I will do my best to
Yeah.
to
I would say Robert is.
even-
Yeah. Robert has generally been very supportive of the schoolhouse, and he has told me personally, probably 3 or 4 or 5 times, that he was going to work on this.
Understood.
He just hasn't been able to do it. Yeah.
All right. All right. So Irv, can you send what you sent to Robert, myself, again?
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
I can look at the emails, but If you can send it to, it'd be George, Barry, and Ruth. Is Maggie on the historic as well?
Yes.
Yes. And who am I
Chris
missing?
Badeke.
That's who it is. Okay. Yeah. So
Then I guess, Irv, if I'm just wondering if you and the association would consider sort of a consultation with the historic commission in the event that restriction isn't in place and you're advancing the project, but just that they would be able to, inform the location, in consideration of, the best maintenance of the integrity of the structure and context, just like if it's not actually a required permit, but that consultation would still be meaningful and valuable in good faith. If the commission, historic commission members, would find something like that to be helpful as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, be happy to do that. We just ran out of ideas. but
Makes-
we
it
we
makes
would
sense,
really
guys.
want this done because as George mentions, the National Register recognition, it's a recognition. It doesn't include any restrictions. And our view is that this is a historic property that needs to be kept to be a historic property, and the restriction would help to make that highly likely. Would help to ensure that would occur. So we're entirely in favor of it. We have always been in favor of it, and we have endeavored to make it happen and have not thus far succeeded. So.
All right.
Just as a point of clarification for anyone, that when something is federally registered, any federal action, funding, or permit would require significant review. But because the funds that we're talking about here are not coming from that federal source, it doesn't have the same teeth, I guess. I'm used to usually using it with federal funding from like the Mass DOT perspective and things like that. But I guess, in a situation like this, the local jurisdiction doesn't come into play until the historic preservation restriction is put in place.
Had we been able to use the Preservation Project Fund, the Massachusetts Preservation Project Fund grant that we initially had approved, the $50,000 grant that would have accompanied the $200,000 grant in October of 2020 from CPC, had we been able to use that grant, this problem would have been solved by state action, because that grant would then the MPPF grant would have required that we use the standard MPPF state preservation restriction, and that would have put the Massachusetts Historical Commission as the holder of the restriction. And not only that, they have those grants. That language exists. It's just a matter of filling in the blanks and using their agreement. And we would have done that. And we couldn't because we had ran into this title restriction problem that it took us a year to solve.
Right.
And we did get that solved, and that cost us $10,000 that we didn't have. And with that got taken care of, but we had decided in the meantime, not knowing how long it was going to take for that to resolve, to just go ahead and get the work done with the money that we had. And the two grants would have worked well together. The Massachusetts state grant is much more restricted in terms of the work it will cover. And the reason we can't go back to them now for this is they don't cover this kind of work. They wouldn't do this. So in combination with the two, we originally would have been able to use the full amount of both of the grants, and we would have gotten this work done and a couple of other things done that we weren't able to do. It all would have worked out. But once we moved ahead without the preservation project grant, we we really kind of lost the ability to go back and do it again. So that's,
All right. Any other questions or concerns? From the team? Public? All right, let me just put this out saying, you're gonna send the information, the draft to the commission, the historic commission. And would you be able to meet the commission sometime before? I mean, again, even if this moves forward to town meeting, if something does go wrong, we can always withdraw if it does go to town meeting. So we can, again, depending upon how the vote goes tonight, we can have it, but we can also get it withdrawn. Would that be okay for you, Irv, and okay for George, Barry, for the commission?
it's okay with me. Yeah.
Yeah, fine with me.
Okay.
Me three.
Okay. All right, then. So then I'm just gonna move forward and say, I'd like to get a motion from the committee, if we can move this forward to town meeting, on the basis that there is a review of the preservation restriction as well as a review of the work that's going to be done by Sandy Pond School Association to the schoolhouse, and have the commission review it. Does that sound about right for a motion? You don't have to
I wonder
repeat.
I wonder if it wouldn't be a good idea to say that we'd try to get the review of the reservation restriction done before town meeting, because that would put a timeline on it and maybe it might force action.
We can try our best, but again,
Janet, this is Julie. I wouldn't want to do that because as much as I know we all want that to move forward, I would like this building to be heated and us to preserve all the historic work we've already done and you've done, or I don't want to possibly not be voting on this at town meeting.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I'm asking that to my board peers. Am I wrong?
I would agree with Julie that I don't see the need to put that kind of condition into this motion. I mean, I think that in good faith, we know that Irvin will consult with the historical commission, but I think there's no point to consulting them until you have all three bids in and see what work is actually proposed as well. So like Julie, I'd hate to see I think we could just vote on the basic, move it to town meeting and go from there.
okay.
I agree with Jess and Julie.
Yeah, and just to clarify, like Jess's point there about, like the most meaningful consultation with the historic commission, I think will happen when you've got an understanding of where your contractors are proposing to locate things, and then that should be a real part of the conversation is, don't enter into any agreements with your contractors until the locations have really been thoroughly discussed and understood by the historic commission.
And then this way here, the CPA funds would be available as you review and make sure that it's the one that is the least obtrusive
Okay.
I think that sounds about right.
Now,
Go ahead.
will you also get a quote from or from an electrician to go with this?
Yes, I will. Right. In my experience, some of the quotes come with that and some don't. This one didn't, but yes, we will. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So can I get a motion to move this request to town meeting?
So move.
Make a motion. Second.
Okay, Jess made the initial and Colleen made the second. Hold on, let me just go through. There, that's a better view. All right, roll call, Barry,
Aye.
Jess,
I,
Beth,
Yes.
Colleen,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
Julie.
Yes.
All right, and the chair says aye. So we're going to move this to town meeting.
Okay.
And
That's wonderful.
again, April 27th, at 7 o'clock at the high school. So that will be good. And I know that you'll be in touch with George and the team.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, and Irv, if I hear anything from Robert tomorrow, I will let the team know as well.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right, excellent. I'm going to go ahead now and get a motion to close the hearing on the Sandy Pond School HVAC project.
So moved.
All right, Beth made the motion. Who's Colleen
Second.
seconds? Colleen seconded. All right, Barry,
Aye.
Jess,
I,
Beth,
Yes.
Colleen,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
Julie,
Yes.
and the chair says aye. All right, so this public hearing is now closed. All right, Irv, thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much.
All right, we're looking forward to this for sure.
Okay. All right. Take care.
All
Bye-bye.
right, you too. Thank you. All right. We have next on the agenda, and it looks as if, like, I see Mark keeps moving. I've got two marks.
No, just one.
Okay, all
I
right.
have to have the screen up in the phone because my microphone doesn't work on my computer tonight.
I tell you, it's this technology.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, we've got, Mark Gallagher, who, you're from Seal Harbor, correct?
I am.
All right, who's going to make a presentation with regards to the old firehouse on 14 Washington Street. A project that many of us are well aware of, but we've got a new view to it. And so, Mark, I'll let you take it from here and
Can
introduce.
you provide me to share screen?
Ooh, gee whiz, you're asking me to do that. Hold on.
Well, if you can just provide me with the ability to share. If you can't, then I can
That's
give
what
you-
I'm saying. I should be able to. Hold on.
You can do this, Janet. I know you can.
I
And
know
Mark,
that.
you might be able to hit share at the bottom and request, and then that might pop up for her to easily approve.
You are the best.
That's the way to do it.
So we're good?
I think you're good.
Let's see if I can.
Thank you, Beth
Thank you, Beth.
and Julie and team. We're all in it together.
All right. Can everybody see the screen now?
yes.
I can, yes.
Okay. All right.
And
So as you all know, we purchased the firehouse several years ago from Calvin Moore before he passed. It's on 18 Washington Street. And we originally permitted it, probably 2.5 years ago. We had proposed doing multiple units inside at the time, but we got an interpretation from the previous building inspector, which restricted our use. And although Calvin's plans showed 6 affordable units in the building, the building inspector made a determination that anything more than 1 residential unit on the first floor was not in concert with the current bylaw or the ordinance. And the planning board took the initiative to go back after we got our approval for 4 units. Excuse me, and they changed the ordinance. And the new change allowed us to go back to re-permit and be able to have residential units on the first and second floor. This past, about a year ago, we took the left-hand side of the building off that was part of the original agreement with Calvin, I guess that was put on sometime in the 70s, I was told, and it was not in concert in terms of the architectural quality of it, of the original building. So we demolished that, and we've now gone through the planning board a second time for a major amendment. The planning board voted to approve our major amendment. We're currently in the appeal period, which expires on the 24th of March. What we would like to do is to get started sometime late spring, early summer, so that we have the building enclosed before the weather gets nasty again next fall. So to take you through, this is essentially the exterior of the building, where the wing was on the left-hand side of the building. That has now been raised, as I pointed out, and there is a new building that has been approved to be placed adjacent to it and amended into this existing or original building that was the fire station. The doors in the front of the fire station will be replaced with architecturally significant doors similar to what was originally in the building, but giving us a little bit better R value because there are, excuse me, residential units directly behind it. We will repair the exterior of the building. And then on the right-hand side here, we're actually adding a second floor out over the existing. So the right-hand side of the building is an existing Butler building. I don't know if you're at all familiar with Butler, but Butler pioneered steel buildings back in the 50s and early 60s. It's essentially steel purlins and steel beams that go up with a corrugated side and roof structure. It's flat on this building, and what we're proposing to do, or what we're approved to do now, is to remove that steel structure and replace it with a more modern and structure that is very architecturally similar to what the existing building is. You can see that it has a small cupola on it that kind of mimics the cupola that's on the existing building as it sits today. Would you like to see the floor plans inside as well?
Yeah, I'll be curious.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
go ahead, Julie.
Julie?
No, so I don't think I'm the right one to weigh in, but is this what we need for this meeting, Janet? Because
Well, I mean,
Mark, I'm happy to see it again, but
I know you're sorry.
what do you need? What do you need as a board, Janet?
well, I don't know. I mean, it's more of, you've got now, what, 6 units that you're gonna be putting in there?
We're gonna have 8. There is one,
units?
7 market rate and 1 affordable. We've already met with the Affordable committee this about a week ago. And they're very happy to get the first floor unit will be an ADA compliant unit on the right-hand side of the building.
Okay. And I think at the Affordable Housing Committee, we did ask, you all to entertain the possibility of, maybe making one more affordable because we are in the Cambridge market. And that means the affordability is still a good amount of, lower rent, but yet still higher than other places within Ayer. But all right. So I think, for the rest of the committee, I think it was more of just knowing on how it was going to get laid out. And I would imagine that this is all on the planning board site, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Mark? Yeah.
Yeah, we have a rendering of the building on the planning board site as well as the plans.
Okay. All right. And I think the only thing I know you and I've spoken about is there is a grant agreement for the 2-step gables that are separate and right on the firehouse part of it, the brick.
Parapet walls.
Pardon?
The parapet walls.
On the what?
Parapet walls, the walls that go up above the roof.
Yeah, I called them
And the
step.
cupola as well, no?
Well, no, they didn't have enough money and with the 30,000 to do anything really with the cupola. It
Calvin
ended up,
expended that money several years ago, I think, if I'm correct, Janet, from what you
right.
provided us, and repaired the parapet walls. Since not everybody knows this, but the building was vandalized this past summer. A crew began, we believe, there sometime in August. Came to the building as contractors. Everybody thought that they were there for us and didn't interfere, and they stripped the building of all of its copper. So the copper downspouts, the copper gutters. Um, my understanding from talking to folks in the adjacent building is two men were up on that roof on the cupola for the better part of 6 days, taking the copper off the top of it. The police, we found out about this last, I think about a month, 6 weeks ago. And they actually went as far as in July, they disconnected all the power to the building and took the service off the side of the building to begin with so that they would not get electrocuted when they removed all the copper from inside the building. So we have the police are investigating it. We've not heard a lot back from them. We're very disappointed that somebody would masquerade as contractors and do this kind of damage to the building. But it's something that we're addressing through the police department at this point.
It's sad to hear.
Very
That's
sad.
awesome. Yeah.
Yep.
But, I mean, to answer Beth's question, it was like 29,000 plus for, again, I don't know the other name for them. I just know them as step gables. What's the other name that you use, Mark?
They're parapet walls.
So did the parapet walls have copper on them?
The parapet walls on the upper section had copper at their base that wrapped under the slate roof.
And that was removed?
All of the copper in the building was removed inside and outside.
So now there's an implication for the historic preservation as well.
I don't believe that the copper on the parapet walls was there from the beginning of time or some point after that. They were lead flashing that was going up under the slate roof. And my understanding of the agreement that's in place is that the roof can be replaced with a slate-like product. We actually went to the Builder Show in Orlando 2 or 3 weeks ago and specifically searched for a type of material that we could use when we work on the building, because that roof is in a lot of disrepair, to be able to have it mimic the slate roof that was there before it was damaged and before time has worn a lot of it out. And we've been able to find a product that we believe will meet the requirements. When we go there, we're probably going to have to do structural work to that roof under the cupola and all the way across, because it's been in disrepair for a very long time, but long before we purchased the building.
What I can end up doing is I'll go to the accountant's office and see if they can pull the invoices that Calvin sent in
Yep.
with the repair work and see on how detailed it was, to see what actually was replaced, and if that, if there was copper, I can, go ahead and at least find that out.
Okay.
So that's on my to-do. But I think, again, seeing this building, have life put back into it, is a great idea. The other funding that was requested by Calvin was 190,000, where part of it was for, he had multiple affordable units out of the 6 that he was going to be putting in. And we also too had a historic component of it so that it would continue with some of the historic on the outside. So that money got put back into the categories. It was never given, never expended, but it did get approved by town meeting. So we had to go back to town meeting and put it back in. So just to give an idea, you can do, the second, if you do a second affordable unit, if you go ahead and do some work on the historic, there are CPA funds that would be available for you.
Okay,
Yeah. And are these all rental units?
they are.
Okay. And like Janet and Colleen, how many units would need to be affordable for all of them to count towards the SHI?
They all count towards your SHI.
They
Yeah.
will all count. Okay.
100% of them, whether they're affordable or not.
Correct. As long as as long as there's one. Mark, I think one
Correct.
has got to be affordable, and then you can count all of them, just like at Devon's Crest. We're
Yep.
going to be able to count all 114. And I know that planning board's got a couple other possibilities coming downtown where there's going to be 1 or 2 affordable units, and that will give us more affordable on the SHI. So
What's the S in SHI stand for?
subsidized.
Subsidize.
Subsidized housing inventory.
Yes.
Yeah. And
And that's
yes,
what we want to
I-
get to 10%, right? And we're not quite
or
there.
higher. We want it as high as we can go because 10% only gets us, the state. But in terms of having affordable housing in town, we want affordable housing. So,
Correct. Yeah.
and just along those lines, I'm very excited to see, the proposal and like Janet said, the building to become a viable use and, to really just showcase, its exceptional architectural qualities and that restoration and everything will be great. But in terms of, true affordability, we've been able with Devon's Crest just to work on, like bringing, the income levels lower to make them accessible for, more residents as well. So, we are here to work with you if there are interests in that, we can have, additional conversations. You can talk to the trust more, because it's really, about, just being able to enable families to be able to have a high quality of life here in Ayer. And thank you for, your work in, making at least one of the units, affordable, but there's always more that we can do, and we're here to help.
No, we understand. If you've seen our website, we do affordable housing units all the time and help towns with their SHI count. So, yeah, I think being candid, I think the new group that is in town hall is much easier to work with than the prior administration from a building standpoint and from an approval standpoint. I think Mike and the rest of the team in there have been very, very helpful in us getting our new permitting. And it's a breath of fresh air. And, we initially were going to do another couple of buildings downtown that we were going to add quite a bit more rental units because we think it's a great opportunity. But, the prior group was not as easy to work with as this group seems to be. So we will be revisiting other opportunities in town to try to, do rental units. It's something we really like.
That sounds good. And one good thing is we do have the housing trust, which also too can help, offset some of the costs so that instead of being, say, bring it down like we did Devon's Crest from 80% to 60% of AMI. And this way here, I think what I go ahead and emphasize is that we've got so many families that the kids have got to move out of town. They can't stay here in town because they can't afford the town. And a lot of people really can't even afford the town themselves. But I know that I hear from families that say, the kids got to go all the way to Gardner, to be able to live close by, and they would rather have them here in town. So yeah, we're here to help, Mark, for sure.
No, I understand. And I think the new ADU law,
Correct.
if everybody gets behind that, has a lot of opportunity to help those that are, in need, that the kids, when they move out or they get married, as an alternative to apartments, is by having, the ADUs, which are like, second homes. It's our plan to do one up on Pearl Street. We have a lot up there that we're currently getting permitted, and that's going to have a home with an ADU on it. And I think the more people see that kind of opportunity, I think it's a lot better for affordable housing as well.
Yep, no, I agree. And I believe our building commissioner, Mike, has got several applications that they're reviewing. So one of them must be yours. So
ours isn't there yet, but it will be. They asked me about it the other day, and it will be very, we have to get through site plan approval for that lot. And then once we get through site plan approval, we'll have a home with an ADU attached to it.
okay. All right, well, this was good information. Does anybody else on the committee have any questions?
Nope.
Just wanted, oh, sorry. Go ahead, Barry.
No, I'm just happy to see that finally you're going to be able to do something with this building, because it is a historic building, rather than the possibility at one time it was going to be raised, and that would have been
a shame.
hurtful. Yeah.
Yep.
So, but again, listening to what happened to you is just, it's well, obviously criminal, but I can't believe that someone would do that. That's so brazen because this probably happened during the day as well, didn't it? Did they do that during the day?
My guys go there every morning because we store a couple of trucks there. And in late July, one of my guys called me and said, "Hey, we're having a problem with the doors. The two doors on the front of the building are automatic doors. So you hit the button, they go up and down."
Yeah.
And I said, "We'll call GPR, because the last time they rent a small space from us in there and put a truck in there as well." And I said, "Bruce, he's really good at fixing the old the garage door openers are from like the early 60s. And he's just an ace at fixing them." So I said, "Call Bruce and have him fix them." Never thinking the problem was we didn't have power. And, time went on. So they knew what our rhythm was. They came after my guys go there in the morning. They were gone by the time my guys came back at night. And they even were so brazen that they swept up after themselves. They were sweeping the parking lot every day because they were pulling everything off the roof.
Yeah. Oh.
And nobody thought to even ask. Not a word, not even a phone call to me. So it really is a shame. It's just too bad. But, at the end of the day, it's going to get repaired. It's going to be put back together. And the damage inside, we would have pulled all the wires out anyways, because, it's a full gut. It's not like we could, save what's inside, but it's just a shame.
Yeah. And certainly this group, if we can help you,
no, I
think
appreciate
that would be,
Thank you. Yeah. And you're welcome. Once we get started, you can stop by anytime. Where, my son and I are more than open to visiting with you guys. Is there anybody else that I need to visit with, Janet? Or if anybody else knows, we've seen the affordability committee. We've visited with you guys. I don't want to leave anybody out of what we're doing.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to go ahead and I would give an update to the Affordable Housing Trust, because that may be another place that you might be able to get some funding. So
Okay.
I would ask. Sean Copeland is the chair. I know Alicia has one more week of employment. She's retiring as of, I believe it's the 13th of March. So You could send her an email as well as Sean Copeland.
Okay. Where would I get Sean? Where would I get Sean's email address?
I tell you what, I'll send it to you.
Super. Super.
Okay.
And I'll
We
touch
have our
base with them.
next, I'm on the Affordable Housing Trust. We have a meeting next week. Before Alicia goes, I don't know if that would be too soon, but we typically meet
Yeah, I
You
don't,
can be there whenever you'd like.
yeah. I mean, Colleen, do you want to ask the trust? Do you want to ask Sean?
Yeah, I can certainly send a note to Sean as well to
Okay.
Okay.
let
All
him
right.
know.
If I can get Sean's email address, I'll send him a note. I'm happy
Yeah.
to,
Pretty
come
much
in front of the
it's
Affordable
yeah,
Trust.
it's
And
easy.
we are considering, I mean, Mark is the one that went to the meeting this past week or so with the Affordable Committee, and we know that they would like to have a second unit. So we're gonna have some earnest conversations with them about that.
Excellent. Thank you. I do appreciate that.
No issues.
All right.
None at all.
Okay, anything else from the committee? George, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, do you have any feedback?
Just if any of the money's going to come from the historic fund, then you should meet with the historic commission.
Okay.
And is Seal Harbor going to end up being the landlord?
Yeah, well, yeah, I believe so. If it's not Seal Harbor, it'll be one of our entities.
Okay.
All right, that's good, George. Thank you.
I was just going to ask Mark, again, I'm also really, devastated to hear about the experience that you've had and, just a real shame. But I was wondering if you do have a goal related to, like a historic restoration, like condition. Just if you could share a little bit about that, if you're, trying to.
Yeah, my understanding from reading, and again, this was all before we purchased the building, but I think that Calvin had come to an agreement with, I thought the Historic Commission, but I may be wrong, in terms of certain preservation goals. I know that there can't be any shrubs or bushes or trees in the front of the building, which we're honoring. There are existing vinyl windows which are in the building, and there was no discussion about them not being able to be vinyl. I think we're going to try to lean towards a window that's more historical in nature, but still gives us the resnet that we need in terms of the insulation value, SHG, and all of the things to make the building, Energy Star worthy as much as we can. And obviously the trim on the building is something that we're looking to, on the front of the building, we're looking to try and replicate. There's a lot of rot on the building, so we are going to try to replicate as much as we can. The brick is in good shape, so I think, that's the major element of the building. And then to get the garage doors to replicate again what was there at one time as close as we can to what has historically been on the building. The other sides of the building I don't think are as concerning because there are really no architectural details on the right side of the building because it's a Butler building other than the entry. And as you can see, if you look at the work that our architect did on the right-hand side of the building, is we're trying to replicate what's here on this side of the building with this entrance. This is where that affordable unit is going, right here. And that we've kind of put a nice little porte cochere on with a lot of detail and crown on here. That would be very similar to what was on the main, what is on the main building historically. You can see the crown all up along here that we're going to try to replicate and clean up and use modern tools and products so that they would last a lot longer than the wood that was used. And you can see it in here as well. So the details in the building, we tried to replicate as much as we could the historic elements of the building. And when we replaced these windows, I think getting back to ones that, replicate the mullions that were here throughout the front with the casework around them and the large sills are all things that we're dedicated to do. So when you see the building, from the front, we hope that it's that everybody's proud of it when we're done. Whether we can replicate this, I don't know until we get up there now and take it. We're going to take the whole thing off. But you've got the parapet walls that I believe this is where Calvin said he spent the most amount of money was repairing this wall system that went up on both sides and this wall system. And I think he did some work to this parapet wall that's here. The roof that's under here, the drains are all blocked. The roof is leaking. The flat roofs in back are leaking, but they're not really, they're rubber roofs. They're not anything like the front of this building. This is the core, I think, of what was the historic building that was originally built and as I understand it, used to replicate a lot of the fire stations throughout Massachusetts because it was done so well.
Mm-hmm. And the two additions on the sides, are they going to be brick as well?
No, they're not going to be brick.
Okay.
No, there's no brick planned for this building or this building here. The brick is predominantly from this, where you see this parapet wall here, all the way over to where you see this parapet wall here.
Okay. All right. And then when you asked about another committee, if you're planning for this affordable to be handicap accessible, I would go ahead and meet with the Disability Commission. I don't know exactly what their name is, but I know one of the members is Dave Seaboard. And
how do you say his last name? I'm sorry.
Cibor. I can give you his email as well.
Sure. Yep. Okay. We'd like to involve as many people in the community as we can. We are not opposed to criticism as long as it's helpful in getting the job done.
Okay.
Janet,
right.
Julie, can I
Yes.
insert real quick? Mark, I could be mistaken, but I was on the board when we approved this, the planning board, when we approved this with Calvin the first time.
Okay.
I believe your landscaping comment actually came from our concerns about parking and line of visibility.
Yeah.
And that if you had something you wanted to do and it wasn't a parking issue, I'm sure that people in this would be okay with that. But I know we've already moved forward, but I just wanted to let you know that I'm sure that is exactly the conversation I remember.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're kind of doing a nice, pattern of sidewalks along the building and stamped work. And I think we're doing landscaping on the left-hand side that's away from the front of the building. I think the front of the building needs to be prominent because that's the historic part of the building, and that's the part that should be replicated as close and restored as close as possible.
Yeah, I appreciate that as well, like that, really allowing, the history to be recognized and to shine. I guess, and I also appreciate your willingness to, just be transparent and meet with, anyone who is interested. So I did just want to see if George and Barry thought that it would be, helpful to go to the Historic Commission, and talk about elements or, and that there's certainly, if Janet has more information about what had been addressed in the past too, that might be informative. But, it sounds like you definitely have good intentions, but they would be the group that could comment more on the, historic restoration approach.
Okay. We're happy to reach out to them.
All right. Anything else from any individual committee or public? All right. And so again, these plans are on the planning board site. So I didn't put them attached with tonight's agenda because again, they are already on the town's website, at the town's new website. So,
Yeah.
that. Okay. All right, Mark, as we keep moving forward, we hope, you come back and then we'll see what else we can go ahead and do. I really
Janet,
do appreciate it.
Janet, thank you for inviting us tonight.
All
And
right.
thank you to everybody that participated this evening.
Yeah,
We look
thank you,
forward to
Mark.
we look forward to working with you. Thank you.
You got it. Thank you.
Have a great evening.
All right, you too. All right. Moving on with the agenda, I'm just gonna quickly, no correspondence, no invoices. There will be an invoice that I'll tell you about when I finally get them from the Shelby Valley Voice for the 2 public hearings, or really 4 notices on that. Grant agreement update, the select board went ahead and approved the grant agreement for the Pond Street, the Air the Air Housing Authority for the 2 generators. So went through town council, and it got signed by the select board chair, Janice Livingston, last night. And I'll be picking it up tomorrow so that I can bring it over for Ken Martin, and then it will be stored as well in the folder and at town hall, so that we have the copies of that. Other than that, town council's reviewing the other grant agreements. Even going back to NOAA, they still have that one. So that's the update on that. Next on the agenda is just public comment. Like I say, I know we had George here, but I'll reiterate that if anybody watches this on YouTube and has any questions, please give a call to Carly, and they will get them to us. Seeing the time, unless there's something vital with regards to committee reports, I think I'm gonna move that forward, and we can talk about that. Next meeting, April 1st. Ta-da!
Adjourn.
Oh.
We will be reviewing 3 warrant articles, one with the disbursements and one for Sandy Pond Schoolhouse, and the other one for the grant, the Air Affordable Housing Trust funds. So there will be 3 warrants. Give you a heads up, right now, the first phase from the state for matching state funds is at 15.5%. That's what they're planning on. So
Wait, could you say that again?
the first phase
Yeah.
from what they are foreseeing is 15.5% matching from the state. Now, with us being at 3%, we get more. They have to go through, get the 15% done, then they go through to see what money's left over and see, different way that they weigh it. And hopefully we can get back to about 30% of the state match. We'll keep our fingers crossed. So I just thought I'd give you guys that as an update, because that's one of the things, the warrant articles that we'll be looking at is the disbursements. So, anything else? All right.
No,
Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
so moved.
All right.
Second.
Okay, you got it. Barry and Colleen and everybody's getting a thumbs up. Again, thank you so much, everybody, for all that you do. Really do appreciate it. And have a great night.
Well, thank you for all you do.
Thank you,
Yes,
Janet.
thanks.
Thank you, everybody.